Aliens thought they'd seen everything the universe could throw at them. Stars collapsing, planets splitting, black holes singing, civilizations burning themselves out in glorious, stupid wars. They had models, charts, simulations, a grand council dedicated to one thing, never being surprised. And then they pointed a camera at Earth. Not at our nukes, not at our wars, not at our rockets, at a guy behind a bar. Just a regular human on a break. He pulls out a thin white stick, summons fire from his pocket, puts the burning end in his mouth on purpose. The council leans in. He inhales the smoke, holds it, and then smoke comes out of his nose. He doesn't scream. He doesn't die. He laughs. He calls it relaxing. In that exact moment, across half the galaxy, every threat model, every stability chart, every carefully balanced political equation snaps in half. Because this isn't a superweapon. It's not a lab experiment. It's not torture. It's a habit. The conclusion is simple and terrifying. If this is what humans do to themselves for stress relief, we cannot let them anywhere near galactic politics. So the council takes a vote. No negotiations, no introduction, no take us to your leader. They watch smoke drift from a human's nose and immediately vote to ban Earth. This is the story of how that happened, and why, even banned, humans still end up being the ones the galaxy calls when things get really, really bad.
The galaxy's most advanced surveillance network was not supposed to be surprised by anything. It had cataloged supernovas, dark matter tsunamis, and one guy from Sector 9B who could eat a whole asteroid fish in one bite. But today, the Grand Council's Threat Analysis Chamber watched something that made the entire hall go very, very quiet. On the central hologram, a human sat outside a small Earth building under a flickering sign, Bar. Night air, cheap chairs, neon glow. The human, male, mid-30s, slightly tired, raised a thin white stick to his mouth. "That," said Chief Analyst Kavar, "is the cigarette." The delegates leaned in. The human flicked a tiny metal device. A spark jumped out. A small, controlled flame blossomed at the tip of the stick. Already, 3 species flinched. Fire, controlled, inches from a soft, organic face. "He is summoning combustion from a pocket artifact," whispered an aquatic delegate, "without ritual, without shielding." "Wait," said another, "watch." The human brought the burning end to his lips, inhaled, and let the flame die to a glow. The thin stick smoldered. Then, a second later, smoke came out of his nose. Thick, gray, casual. The chamber erupted. "He's leaking!" shrieked a medic cast from the back. "Internal combustion failure!" "No," said Kavar, fast-forwarding the clip. "Observe, he repeats this several times. Inhales burning particulate matter, retains it, then expels it. No signs of distress, collapse, or medical intervention. In fact, his vital signs," he pulled up a scan overlay, "increase slightly in what their files label as relaxation." The council chair, a luminous fractal entity named Aerith, pulsed in alarm. "Are you telling me this species voluntarily burns plant matter, pulls the smoke into its delicate gas exchange organs, and survives?" "Not just survives," Kavar said. "He seems calmer afterwards." The video continued. The human laughed with another human, gestured with the burning stick, briefly tipped ash into a tray, then exhaled a long stream of smoke through both mouth and nose, like a tiny, bored dragon. One of the delegates fainted. Aerith's fight dimmed. Are we certain this is not a weapon test? We have cross-referenced billions of hours of visual data. This is a mundane ritual. It is legal in many of their regions. There are even social spots dedicated to it. You mean to say, a thin skeletal delegate rasped, that inhaling micro-fire toxins is considered a break? Kavar nodded grimly. Yes, they call it a smoke break. A low, horrified murmur passed through the hall. Project internal organ structure, Aerith ordered. An anatomical hologram of human lungs appeared, branching pink networks. Kavar highlighted the damage overlays. Long-term structural breakdown, cell mutation, reduced efficiency, he said. They are fully aware it harms them. Their medical literature is extensive. And yet they continue, Aerith asked. In very large numbers, Kavar said, often in high-stress professions, before and after conflict, during negotiations, sometimes immediately outside hospitals where they are treating the damage. Aerith froze. Let the record show, they said slowly, that humans knowingly inhale burning toxins, accept damage to critical organs, and call it taking the edge off? No one spoke. Somewhere deep in the Council's shared psyche, a new classification quietly assembled itself. Species that fear pain, species that avoid pain, species that weaponize pain, and now species that schedule pain between work shifts. Begin emergency session. This is worse than we thought.
The Emergency Threat Committee convened 3 hours later, after everyone had calmed down enough to stop replaying the cigarette footage in slow motion. Aerith floated at the center, surrounded by a circular arrangement of species chosen specifically for their calm judgment and risk analysis. Every single one of them looked mildly traumatized. Kvar dimmed the lights and brought up 4 clips at once. Different humans, different locations, all smoking. A woman in a hospital uniform. A soldier outside a bunker. A worker in a construction helmet. A guy on a balcony at night, staring at nothing. All of them inhaled, held, and exhaled smoke. Mouth, nose, sometimes both. I do not understand, said Jury, a small furred diplomat. Why would they ingest slow poison while already under stress? Kvar spread his hands. Our cultural analysis suggests a mix of chemical addiction, social bonding, and psychological ritual. Bonding, repeated a crystalline delegate. They bond over shared lung damage. Jury's fur puffed. That's not bonding. That's a cult of self-harm. It gets worse, Kvar admitted. He brought up a set of images, warning labels, diseased organs, explicit medical diagrams. These are mandatory images they place on the packaging, he said. They show exact consequences. The humans see these. Every time. They buy them anyway. A silence that was not really silence settled, just a thick, shared mental static. Hypothesis, said a military strategist finally. Their pain tolerance and risk normalization are far outside our usual parameters. If they accept long-term damage for momentary calm, their threshold for short-term suffering in combat is terrifying. And this is not their only harmful substance, added a medical delegate quickly. They ingest liquids that corrode internal structure, stimulants that disrupt neural patterns. Oh, we are focusing on this cigarette because it combines too many signals at once. Fire control, self-inflicted respiratory damage, social reinforcement, casual attitude. Aerith pulsed darker. Are there species who fear humans simply because of this behavior? Yes, Kvar said. Several lower-tier civilizations intercepted visual data and assumed the smoke was a form of internal weapon testing. They believe humans are slowly training their organs to host fire. Aren't they? Someone whispered. The military strategist rotated toward Aerith. If their everyday stress ritual involves microdosing combustion, imagine their reaction to actual war. Our models already rated humans as high-variance combatants. This changes the weighting. How much? Aerith asked. Before, dangerous in conflict. Now, habitually self-damaging fire-breathers who treat pain as background noise. That's not a category, Jury protested. Now it is, the strategist replied. Aerith turned to the AI node hovering gently at the side of the chamber. Run new simulations, include smoking behavior as a proxy for risk tolerance and self-sacrifice index. The AI pulsed, working. Streams of probability lit up the room. In scenario after scenario, humans absorbed damage, fought through injuries, and made choices no sane model predicted. Your own machines agree, Kvar said quietly. They do not simply endure harm, they incorporate it into identity. I smoke, therefore I am tough. I quit, therefore I am stronger. Either way, they define themselves around struggle. The AI's voice came back, flatter than usual. Updated classification. If fully integrated into council politics and conflict structures, humanity becomes an unstoppable destabilizing agent. Recommendation: they must never sit at this table. Aerith's lights hardened. We have to vote before they arrive.
Jamal Ali leaned against the back wall of the spaceport diplomatic annex and lit his cigarette. The first drag hit like it always did, sharp, hot, a tiny kick of doom that his brain had decided meant calm. He exhaled through his nose, watching the twin streams twist in the cool night air. "Those things are gonna kill you," said Maya, the comms operator, stepping out beside him with a mug of coffee. "Everything's gonna kill me," Jamal said. "At least this one's honest." She snorted. "Deep." "Been practicing," he said. "We've got aliens apparently watching us now. Gotta sound philosophical." Above them, the sky was clear. For the first time in recorded human history, telescopes had picked up regular, unnatural activity near Jupiter. Artificial. Organized. Not ours. The official statement called it a possible precursor civilization contact event. Jamal called it someone else's parking lot. "You think they're friendly?" Maya asked. He shrugged. "If they made it across the stars, they're either extremely chill or extremely bored." "Or extremely judging us," she said, eyeing his cigarette. "You're literally exhaling visible damage." He smiled without humor. "Yeah, well, we're in the pretend everything's normal phase. Smoke helps." Her radio pinged. She glanced at it, frowned, then looked up at him. That was command. Translation Division thinks they decoded a fragment of alien chatter. "Oh?" Jamal said. "What's the verdict? Take us to your leader, or nice rock you've got here, we'll take it." Her expression went weird. "It said," she read from her device, Subject species displays voluntary inhalation of combustive toxins. Risk index upgraded. Recommend containment. Jamal stared. Containment? He repeated. They think you're a hazard, Maya said. He flicked ash into the tray. I mean, they're not wrong. She swatted his shoulder. I'm serious. They're watching us. Watching you. That feed from the bar down the street last week? Command says the timestamp matches the first spike in alien data traffic. Jamal blinked. Hold up. You're telling me that somewhere out there, some high-level alien council is watching footage of me going for a smoke? She shrugged helplessly. Maybe. He took another drag, exhaled slowly, twin streams curling from his nose. Well, he said, hope I looked cool.
The Grand Council chamber hummed with tension. A wreath floated in the center, every facet of their luminous geometry hard set with resolve. The holographic ceiling showed a magnified view of Earth, its cloud bands idly swirling, unaware. We have run every simulation, a wreath said. We have reviewed cultural patterns, conflict history, and biological habits. The conclusion is clear. Humanity's relationship with self-harm, fire, and risk makes them fundamentally incompatible with stable council integration. Images flickered around the room. Wars, protests, art, and yes, humans smoking. Always smoking. Outside hospitals, in alleys, on balconies. We have observed a habit where they inhale combustive toxins, exhale visible smoke from nose and mouth, and frame it as relaxation. This indicates a species that treats damage as normal. They are not merely resilient, they are recreationally resilient. Jerry raised a paw. Chair, with respect, are we truly basing a ban on one habit? It is not just one habit, Kavar interjected. It is a window. Smoking correlates with stress, labor, conflict, and social bonding. When given direct proof it harms them, they continue. When restricted, they build black markets. When shamed, they turn quitting into a heroic narrative. Every outcome feeds their identity as fighters. Martyrs, someone muttered. Exactly, Kavar said. If they ever take offense at council decisions, they will not just resist, they will adapt. They will absorb loss and call it character. The military strategist chimed in. Imagine them as full members, access to our logistics, our disputed borders, our grudges. They would either fix everything in a blaze of chaotic innovation or light all our old wounds on fire and inhale the smoke for fun. Murmurs of horror. The AI projected a final summary. Scenario: humanity admitted as trial member. Outcome span: 90% of simulations and in radical reconfiguration of galactic power structures. 40% include multi-system war. 10% and with humans unofficially mediating most conflicts by being too stubborn to let us kill each other. That last one does not sound entirely bad, Jerry said. It is unpredictability, and I am not fond of that, the AI said. Areith's geometry pulsed. Delegates, the proposal on the table. Earth and humanity are to be formally banned from council membership and from direct contact. They are to be observed only, their system restricted from open travel. They are declared a high-risk adaptive species. The lights dimmed slightly as the vote began. One by one, glowing sigils lit up. Yes, 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 yes. Some reluctant, some firm, none opposed. The AI announced, result, unanimous. The humans are banned. Areith exhaled a ripple through the chamber. Then let us pray they never learn of our existence. The session adjourned. No one noticed Jamal's cigarette video still looping quietly in a side panel. Smoke exhaled from his nose again and again, as if the universe were rewinding the exact moment it chose fear.
The headline should not have been possible. Maya read it 3 times anyway.
Earth officially banned by unknown interstellar government. The leak came from deep inside the translation division. A fragment of intercepted alien transmissions decrypted by a sleepless team and an AI that kept crashing with the note, "This can't be real." Jamal sat across from her in the break room, cigarette unlit between his fingers out of respect for the "no smoking inside" sign. "You're kidding," he said. "I wish," Maya replied. "They have a name for themselves. Roughly translates to Grand Council of Rational Species. They voted unanimously. We're out." "We were never in," Jamal pointed out. "Yeah, but it still feels like we got kicked out of a party we didn't know existed," she said. "Also, you're going to love this part." She zoomed in on a line. "Primary behavioral marker. Voluntary inhalation and exhalation of combustive toxins, designated cigarette smoking. Indicator of high pain tolerance, risk normalization, and possible internal weaponization." Jamal stared. "They banned us," he said slowly. "Because I smoke?" "Not just you, Jamal," Maya said. "All smokers. All humans. Apparently, they watched enough footage to decide we're too comfortable damaging ourselves." He leaned back, a hysterical laugh bubbling up. "We finally make first contact and get labeled biologically insane before we can even wave." Maya grimaced. "It's not just the smoking. They mentioned war, politics, internet behavior. Don't show them Twitter. They'll aim a black hole at us." "Already banned, remember?" Maya said. Silence stretched. "So what do we do?" he asked. "Officially," she said, "nothing. The big heads upstairs are still deciding whether to admit we know." "And unofficially?" he asked. She slid a file across the table. It was old-fashioned, actual paper. "And unofficially," she said, "someone in command wants a response drafted." He flipped it open. The top line read, "To the esteemed Grand Council regarding our concerns about our use of fire." Jamal blinked. "They want me to write this. You're the one who accidentally terrified a civilization by existing on camera. Congratulations, you're now Earth's unofficial smoking ambassador." He buried his face in his hands. "I'm going to die before the nicotine gets me." "Probably," Maya said. "But on the bright side, if they're scared of you for a cigarette, imagine how they'll feel when they see a human eat a Carolina Reaper." He lowered his hands slowly. "New plan. We're going to scare them into respecting us." "That," she said, "is the most human sentence I've ever heard."
The first draft of Earth's unofficial reply read like something between a legal apology and a long, nervous Tinder message. Jamal hated it. "We sound guilty," he said, pacing the cramped office. "We sound like we got caught doing something shameful." Maya tapped on her tablet. "We did get caught inhaling toxins for stress relief." "Yeah," he said, "and they've never done self-destructive stuff? Please. If they've got politics, they've got bad coping mechanisms." He grabbed a pen and started scribbling over the printed draft. "Dear Grand Council," he read aloud, crossing out phrases, "we are aware you have concerns about our combustive recreation rituals. First of all, we agree, smoking is bad. We tell ourselves that constantly. We literally print 'This will kill you' on the packaging. People still do it because we're stubborn, anxious, and chemically hackable." Maya snorted. "Accurate." "Second," Jamal continued, "we do not use cigarette smoke as a weapon. That would be stupid. We have way more efficient weapons." She looked up sharply. "Maybe don't write that part." "Fine, fine," he said, scratching it out. "Second, cigarettes are a symptom of a bigger thing. We are a species that has spent most of our history in pain, physical, emotional, historical. We cope badly. We also cope creatively." He stopped, eyes unfocusing. "That's the part they don't get. They see smoke and think weapon. We see smoke and think break. Same behavior, different story. Make that the core. Turn it into a narrative, not a defense. He rewrote, You watched one of our worst habits and assumed it was our essence. In a way, you're not wrong. We hurt ourselves. We hurt each other. But we also build hospitals, therapies, quit lines, art, laws, all fighting our own damage. You saw the problem. You didn't wait to see the response. He handed it to her. Too honest? He asked. It's us. If they don't like it, we weren't getting in anyway. They rounded the draft through a dozen encryption layers, then pointed it at the region of space the alien signals came from. A tight beam of human confession and defiance, carrying one last line Jamal insisted on adding. P.S. The guy in your footage, that was me. I'm trying to quit. Thought you should know we fight ourselves as hard as we'd fight anyone who tries to hurt us. The transmission left the dish with a hum. Jamal lit a real cigarette outside, then stared at it. Last one, he muttered. You've said that before, Maya said. Yeah, but this time, aliens are watching.
The message hit the Grand Halo's comm array like a soft slap. Arith convened a restricted session. Only the AI, Kavar, and a few key delegates were allowed in. The transmission played in the center of the room, translated into universal patterns. Jamal's words flowed out, stripped of accent, but not of tone. They listened to a species describing its own flaws without sugarcoating, smoking as a symbol, self-harm framed as both mistake and badge of survival. The sentence about printing the warning on the package made half the room flinch. They know it hurts them, Jiri whispered. They put the warning there themselves. And then buy it anyway, the military strategist said. That's not bravery. That's something else. When the part about we hurt ourselves, we hurt each other, but we also fight our damage came up, the telepathic delegate shivered. He believes this, they said, deeply. He is ashamed and proud at the same time. Can a species feel both shame and pride over the same behavior? Kavar asked. Apparently, the telepath said. Then came the postscript. The guy in your footage, that was me. I'm trying to quit. Arith felt something odd then. Not exactly pity, something like recognition. We banned them using only half the story, Jiri said quietly. The other half does not make them safer. If anything, it confirms our fears. They weaponize their will. If they turn that outward, and if they turn it inward, they might become the only species that survives things we can't. The AI chimed in. Their self-awareness is high. Their admission of fault is rare for a species under judgment. This complicates models further. Arith pulsed a slow pattern. Do we rescind the ban? The strategist recoiled. Absolutely not. Their potential for chaos has not changed. One heartfelt message does not erase centuries of war and countless cigarettes. Then what changes? Kavar asked. Arith focused on the still image of Jamal outside the bar, smoke drifting from his nose, expression tired but alive. We revised the reason, not banned for being monsters. Then what? Jiri asked. Banned, Arith said, for being more like us than we are prepared to admit. The room fell silent. It was easier somehow, when humans were just insane fire breathers. Harder now that they were complicated fire breathers with guilt and jokes. Log the message, Arith said. Flag their system as high risk, high resilience, and prepare a response. Response? The strategist asked. You intend to talk to them? Yes, Arith said. We cannot ignore an organism that volunteers information like this. And what will you say? Jiri asked. Arith considered. Something true, they said at last. We are afraid of you. And we may need you anyway.
The official record still stated humanity banned from council membership. The private addendum, however, now carried a new line. In case of catastrophic, unmodeled threat, reconsider.
That reconsideration came sooner than anyone liked. A strange anomaly bloomed at the edge of mapped space, geometry breaking, stars bending, localized pockets of stopped time. The Council's best minds poked at it with equations and probes. The probes did not come back. "What does the AI say?" Aerith asked. "Unknown," the AI admitted. "No precedent, no stable solution." The room went cold. Jiri hesitated. We do have one source of experience with repeatedly surviving impossible things." Everyone knew who she meant. "Absolutely not," the strategist said. "We are not inviting them into this." Aerith pulsed. "We don't have to invite them in. We can ask." "For advice." "You mean," Kavar said slowly, "send a message to the species we banned for being too comfortable with danger, asking what they would do about unprecedented danger?" "Yes," Aerith said. "If nothing else, they might think of something we won't." The AI showed Jamal's file. His last update had come through secondary probes. He had actually quit smoking, mostly. 3 relapses, then a final shrug and still trying. "That one," Jiri said. "He seems experienced in fighting his own worst habits." "He is a dock technician," the strategist protested, "not an interdimensional physicist." "Different scale, same pattern," Jiri said. "He wrestles with something harmful and refuses to give up. That's what we need." Aerith emitted a low chord that meant, "Fine, but I hate this." "Draft the message," they said. It was the strangest diplomatic communiqué ever written. "To Jamal Ali of Earth, we have monitored your confession and your attempt to cease harmful ritual. We find your efforts confusing, but instructive. We face a phenomenon we cannot model or control. If your species is as stubborn as your message suggests, we ask, how do you keep moving when everything hurts and nothing makes sense?" They appended a technical description of the anomaly. Then they sent it, breaking their own embargo. Somewhere, on a tiny blue world, a human who used to blow smoke out of his nose read a letter from the sky that was basically, "Dear problem species, help." Jamal got the message on his lunch break. He read it twice, then a third time. Then he put his sandwich down and stared at nothing for a solid minute. Maya slid into the seat across from him. "You look like someone just proposed to you or threatened you. Alien stuff?" He forwarded it. She read. Her eyebrows climbed. "They're asking how to deal with an impossible problem," she said. "They sent you physics diagrams?" He squinted at the alien math. "That might as well be runes. I barely passed trig." "Why you then?" she asked. He thought about it. "Because I wrote to them about trying to quit something that's killing me," he said slowly. "They see that as experience." Maya's face softened. "They're scared." "Yeah, join the club." He opened a blank reply. "Arif, Jiri, Kivar, and whoever else is reading this," he began, hands shaking. "First, I am wildly unqualified to answer your physics question. Give this stuff to our scientists and they'll poke it properly. I'm just one guy who used to stand outside bars and set himself on fire a little bit." He paused. "But you didn't just ask about the phenomenon. You asked a human question. How do you keep moving when everything hurts and nothing makes sense?" He typed. "Short version, badly. Long version, we keep going by lying to ourselves that we can fix it until sometimes we actually do." Maya leaned over his shoulder. "That is the most accurate thing I've ever seen." He continued. "When you can't model something, you take a guess. You try something small. It fails. You try something else. You fail better. You keep your people alive between attempts. You learn to live next to fear long enough to poke it with a stick." He hesitated, then added, "We smoked for years knowing it hurt us. Some of us used that pain as an excuse to give up. Some of us used it as a reason to stop. You're scared of us because we normalize damage. You should be more scared of what we do when we finally decide we're done being hurt." Maya whistled softly. "Bit threatening," she said. "Accurate," he replied. He ended with, "Give our scientists your data. We'll look. We'll try. No promises. That's the best we ever have. P.S. I'm still not smoking. Not because you banned us, but because I don't want to terrify you with my nose anymore." They transmitted it. For a second, Jamal considered lighting a cigarette for old time's sake. He didn't. Not this time.
The anomaly did not vanish overnight. It took years. Human scientists, giddy at finally having alien math, combined it with their own weird tools and wilder ideas. The Council sent data grudgingly. Joint teams formed quietly, unofficially. The final solution wasn't elegant. It involved sacrificing a dead moon, 3 quantum anchors, and a human-engineered feedback wave that one council scientist described as screaming equations into a hurricane until the hurricane got bored and left. It worked. When it was over and the maps stopped glitching, the council convened once more. Officially, the record still said, "Humanity banned." Unofficially, another line had been added. "In case of catastrophe, ask the species who used to willingly inhale fire and learn to stop." Aerith floated on a private balcony, watching a hologram of Earth spin slowly. Jiri joined them. "Should we lift the ban?" she asked. Aerith pulsed thoughtfully. "No," they said, "not yet. They are still dangerous. They still scare us." "Because of cigarettes?" Jiri asked. "Because cigarettes were just an early symptom," Aerith said. "They star themselves, then turn scars into stories. They make bad choices, then write manuals about how to do better. They look at the universe trying to kill them and say, 'Not today.'" Jiri sighed. "We could learn from that." "We are," Aerith said. "Slowly, secretly." "Will we tell them?" she asked. Aerith watched Jamal's last recorded image. No cigarette this time, just him laughing with friends under a clear sky. "Eventually," Aerith said. "For now, let us have the illusion that we are still in control." Jiri chuckled. "You know they already know we're scared of them, right?" "Yes," Aerith said, "and they keep trying anyway. That is what frightens me most." Somewhere on a small blue world, a man walked past a convenience store, glanced at the cigarette shelf, and shook his head. "Nah," he said, "got bigger things to fight now." Humanity remained officially banned. Unofficially, they had become exactly what the Council feared, a species whose worst habits were just training for the day the universe needed someone too stubborn, too damaged, and too hopeful to quit.